coming up on Makosi Today.
Our society, Africa, should be interested in giving young people a second chance. All of us have made mistakes in our lives, and know if we are to be named by our mistakes and the world is related with us by our mistakes, none of us will be here.
Because you see, the issue of teenage pregnancy in Lagos in particular, it is alarming.
Today's heartbreaking topic is teenage pregnancy.
Teenage pregnancy. This is a matter of world concern. Hear these revelations. In the US alone, about 1 million teenagers get pregnant every year. The government spends about $7 billion every year on issues of teen pregnancy and $40 billion to help families that began with teenage birth. In England and Wales, about 43,361 teenagers got pregnant in 2008 and 38,259 in 2009. Here in Africa, teenage pregnancy is a complex and worrisome problem. In South Africa, for example, 1 in every 3 girls has a baby before the age of 20, according to reports. And with 18.8% HIV prevalence in that country, teen pregnancy issue becomes a very grave matter. In Nigeria, the situation is not any better. Here, it is even a taboo in some communities to mention that a teenage girl is pregnant. So, it's crazy getting the real data on teen pregnancy. It was therefore not shocking when the UN reported that about 53,000 women die annually in Nigeria from pregnancy-related illnesses. And this is one of the highest maternal mortality rates in the world. And guess what? Most of those women are teenagers.
I am joined by Taiwo Akinlami and Ngozi Okoro. Welcome to Makosi Today, Taiwo.
It's my pleasure to be here.
Which organization do you work for and what do you do?
Well, I work for Taiwo Akinlami Inspires.
Yes.
And my focus is social empowerment advocacy. I've been doing that for 15 years. And my major area of focus is child rights and advocacy. And in that area, I do a lot of work with UNICEF. I'm a consultant to UNICEF. I work with schools. I work with NGOs. My focus really is to ensure that the rights and responsibilities of the Nigerian child or African child are brought to the very front burner of public and private conscience and consciousness for due respect in the best interest of the child. And we've done that effectively, working with schools, working with NGOs, working with media people, and it's been an awesome experience. For me, it's a passion. It's what I live for. If I quit doing it, I signed up for suicide.
Wow.
Yes.
That's passion. That is passion right there.
Yes.
What you do, does it include any, are teenagers protected in your acts? Like, does it include teenagers?
Yes, the beauty of the Child Rights Act is the fact that, there's a law in Nigeria called the Child Rights Act, 2003. As a matter of fact, that law is domestication of the Convention on the Rights of the Child, 1989, and also has a part with African Charter on Welfare and the Rights of the Child, but that is an AU law. All these laws put together recognize that a child is anybody below the age of 18. And so, if a child is anybody below the 18, a teenager comes under view when we define who a child is. And so on the basis of that, we do a lot in the area of protection. Now, you know that there are 4 baskets of rights that every child has in Africa and all over the world. The first one is what you call survivor rights, which has to do with registration of birth, immunization, key household practices, and the rest of it. The second one is developmental rights, which has to do with the fact that the child has to develop spirit, soul, and body. The third one is what you call protection right, which means children must be protected against 4 kinds of abuse that have been identified. The first kind of abuse is physical abuse. The second one is sexual abuse. The third one is emotional abuse. The fourth one is abuse by neglect. Now, the fourth basket of right is what you call participation right. That is, children must be allowed to participate in matters that affect them. So when you put all this together, if you are talking about children's right in Africa, you must be able to touch all the areas. And I believe very strongly that when we're talking about rights, prevention is better than cure, because the impact of wrong upbringing is eternal, except there is divine intervention. Now, there are these 4 ways by which a child can be abused. I suffered it when I was growing up. The first one was physical abuse. When my father wanted to cane me, he would tie my legs, he would tie my hands, he would strip me naked, he would pour water and salt, he would say for the punishment is Saturday, and he would give me 6 strokes of the cane, he would sit down, and he would go back. That exercise could go on for the whole day. I lost my virginity at the age of 6. I was sexually abused. That was the year I started primary school. And my mother would go to the market, leave me with this particular woman who was a neighbor, and this neighbor would strip me naked, play with every part of my body. When other children were seeing aunties and they were seeing sisters, I was seeing sex partners. As a child, I started having sexual relationship with other children. As a teenager, I started having anal sex with other teenagers, which in the palace is called homosexuality. As a teenager, I've taken my father's neighbor's daughters into my father's bedroom. I've molested her sexually. By the time I became after 18, I had become something else. I could do anything under skirt. Prostitute within the brothel, prostitute on the road. I was just damaged because my sexuality had been damaged. The third way by which a child can be abused is what you call emotional abuse. I was emotionally abused. What is emotional abuse? It is when you criticize a child for everything the child does wrong, and you never commend the child for anything the child does right. The child is going to develop a siege mentality, believing that he's at war in his own home. And at the age of 12, I ran away from home to become a bus conductor. I was in the garage for 3 days. I didn't get anybody to hire me. I had to run back home, and the saga continued until I was 18 and I left home. And when I left home, I left with this mentality called rain-beating chicken mentality. What does that mean? It means I was not suffering from low self-esteem. I wasn't even conscious of my esteem, because when you say somebody is suffering from low self-esteem, it's a testimony, it's an achievement. It means you have assessed yourself, you have this presence of mind to assess yourself and to understand that your emotion is low, your esteem is low. But in a situation where you are not even aware of your existence, if my life was governed by only 2 things: what my taste and my feeling, and what people will say about me. So because of that, I went into a lot of things. So the foundational thing is that my life was governed by what I would eat. I felt like smoking, I smoked. I felt like smoking Indian hemp, I did. I felt like sleeping with women, I did. That was how my life was. And if I was going to stop all those things, I would think about what will my friends think? What will my group think? What will everybody think? Unfortunately, again, everybody thought I was strong because I was in student union when I was in school. So everybody thought I was on top of the world, but I was going to hell. Right inside of me, I knew things were not right. And my story changed in 1997. When February 16, 1997, I gave my life to Christ. And that is the beginning of a new dawn in my life. And Christ gave me 3 mandates since then. Number 1, seek change through knowledge, disseminate. The number 1 mandate is to seek change through knowledge. The number 2 mandate is to practice change through discipline. Then the number 3 mandate is to preach change through my lifestyle. My own conclusion is,
believe anyone can go through what you went through and still want to do what you do for others.
Because the truth of the matter is this. What I found is abuse is only possible in an environment created for it. There's an enabling environment for abuse in our nation. And that's why I could go through what I went through. See, please note, what I went through to a very large extent may not be peculiar. The only difference is I have come out to talk about what I've gone through. Now, the foundational thing, the basis of my own campaign and my advocacy is there are so many Taiwo Akinlami out there who would not have seen the light of day. What if I've been hired at the age of 12 as a bus conductor? I would have become a very the chairman of road transport worker in Ado Ekiti, where I lived. Now, at the age of 9, I was struck down by cholera because we were living in a place, face me, I face your apartment, where you drank from the same source from which you defecated. And my parents traveled home to our hometown and left me at the age of 9. We were 5 and I was the oldest at the age of 9. This is, and they showed us, this is where rice is, this is where beans is, this is all this thing, and cook. And by Saturday, I had come down with cholera. You know, in Face Me, I Face Your apartment in Nigeria, everybody has time for everybody. Nobody has time for anybody except for gossip. And so I was coming down, I was dying, until my parents came back on Sunday and they rushed me to the hospital, and the doctor said, if only you have come in 5 minutes late, this boy will have become history. So the foundational thing is this: if I don't do what I'm doing, there are many people out there who are still going through what I'm going through. Why are they going through what I'm going through? Is because there's no awareness. Let me give you an example. The deputy governor of Lagos State was addressing a press conference, and I was invited as a stakeholder to witness the press conference. When she finished, now what is the essence of the press conference? She wants to declare war on child abuse in Lagos State, which is beautiful. The Lagos State government should be commended for that. But I stood up when she finished speaking, addressing the press. I stood up, I said, Your Excellency, ma, can I say something to you? Have you been to a place called Ajegule? Have you been to Kokomaiko? Have you been to Ijora Badia? The existence of these old people is already an abuse. And so the parents are already abused. The parents are living in abject poverty. A parent cannot give what he or she does not have. Now, so if a parent cannot give what she or she does not have, it's a parent that all the market that she's selling is just 2,000 naira. And you are saying that if this child hogs this market and throws it away, is going to come back home when the woman does not know where the next naira is coming from. I said there's no way we can solve the problem of child abuse in Nigeria without addressing the problem of poverty. A child was impregnated in Ajegule, and what did a teacher raped a child, molested a child, and impregnated the guy. A teenager. Now, how was the matter settled? We came into the matter. The family said we were not interested. Why were they not interested? Because 30,000 naira as exchanges. Now, how much is 30,000 naira to you? How much is 30,000 naira to me? But when last did that woman, the mother and the father, count 30,000 naira? So it could make all the difference. So they collected the money, let the girl be treated, we'll carry the pregnancy, and that was the end of the matter. If you have a matter in court and the family says they are not interested,
they won't fight.
Who is going to fight?
So, oh my God, I'm going to have to come to Ngozi Okoro. And before I ask you your question, which organization do you work for and what exactly do you do?
I work for Child to Child Network. It's a non-governmental organization that promotes and protects the rights of children. I am also the Lagos State Coordinator of Child Protection Network, a network of organizations that work in the area of child protection, which includes teenage pregnancy too. I'm also a member of the Lagos State Child Rights Implementation Committee. So what we do is we empower children on their rights and responsibilities. So that is, like Barrister Kinlami said, the fourth basket of rights, which means children will participate, because when you teach them, they go out to teach others, because most times parents are not there. So children get information from their peers. So if they have the right information, they will pass the right information.
So, you know, with everything that Barrister Taiwo just said, do you think the government is doing enough?
Well, the government, Lagos State government, I would say they are trying. Because like he said, the deputy governor, when she called the press conference, both of us were there. Like he also asked a question, I asked a question. Because there was a girl we rescued about 2 years ago. You know, a man took advantage of her because her mother is late. Then the father married another wife that was maltreating her. In fact, she was trekking a long distance to school without food, in fact, without pants. You know, so one day they fought, and the woman, and she had to run to school. So getting there, one man decided to help. He lives opposite their school because he has his late brother's girls living with him. So he took in the girl after they went to police and everything. But instead of allowing the girl to sleep like he promised with the sisters, he took her. yes, to his own room and started molesting the girl. So this girl couldn't bear it. She went to the first teacher. The teacher said, shout. Then one of the teachers that we work with, that we have trained, you know, so when she saw her, she called her that, you're not looking well. What is wrong? She now opened up. In fact, that particular day, the teacher called me to say that she was going to strangle the man. I said, take it easy, you know. So, but after that, we were able to rescue the girl, to take the girl away from that place. We took her to a home for girls, you know, and then she continued her education. But the police that is close to, the police station that is close to their school, we went there first, you know, to report the issue. They arrested this man. It was on a Friday. So when we left, they released the man. Then we had to write to the Lagos state government. They also went there. Before they got there, you know, because they had to call the police station close to that place that we are coming to do social arrest. That same police station informed this man and he disappeared. You know, so since then, we've not been able to arrest the man. And I now asked the deputy governor, so what of such situations? Because we have been on it. She said that we can't handle that. Well, we did not handle it alone, because our own is, the most important thing to us is to rescue the girl, to take the girl away from danger. But we left the government to do the work. Up to now, I tell you, the man is still there. In fact, the man is now in a girls' school teaching mathematics in an all-girls school. Yeah.
The government is not doing enough.
They are not doing enough again,
they have
because
policies, but the policies are not being implemented.
Yes, because you see the issue of teenage pregnancy in Lagos in particular, it is alarming.
This issue is actually very, very deep-rooted. We can't go into detail this side of the break, but stay tuned. We'll be right back after the break. We don't have statistics because teenage pregnancy is a taboo. Like in this case, it actually looks like the man is being protected more than the woman is being protected.
Exactly.
If it was something that you can openly discuss, to say, you know, somebody is doing this to me, and not be looked at as the one instigating it, then these children will be more protected.
Yes.
You know, and you know, as the barrister was saying to me earlier, to say it's actually not a government thing or a parent thing. It's a balanced thing. You were telling me about what parents can do towards.
Well, my thinking is this: when you talk about teenage pregnancy, there are two ways. The number one thing is a child becomes pregnant through sexual abuse. By an adult.
Yes.
Please note, when I talk about sexual abuse, an adult cannot come out and say anybody less than 18 gave him consent. The law says anybody below 18 cannot give consent for sex. So if a man has a sexual relationship with anybody below 18, is sexual abuse and is playing with life imprisonment. That is the position of the law. Now, so a child gets pregnant through that process. Another way by which teenage pregnancy happens is by, you know, pair sexual relationship.
14 and 14.
Yes, a teenager having sexual relationship with another teenager. Whichever way, the foundational thing is that children, these girls, they come out of a family. What we have found here is that, particularly in Africa, you see, poverty is a major issue. When, you know, life in the state of nature was British nasty and short, as according to Thomas Hobbes. And on the basis of that, the inhabitants of the state of nature were looking for a way forward. And what was the way forward they were looking for? A situation where we can put all our powers in the hand of government, and government now can be responsible while we have representative democracy. When that happens, it means there are some load the government will carry, and there's a load the people will carry. In a situation where, by the principle of social contract, the security and the welfare of the people shall be the primary aim of government. Where the security of the people and the welfare of the people is no more the responsibility of government, it means the people begin to carry the load they are not created to carry. They begin to be responsible for electricity, they are responsible for their own security, they are responsible for their own road, they are responsible for all these things. When they become responsible for all these things, they are distracted.
teenage pregnancy wasn't such a taboo, if sex wasn't such a taboo in Africa, I don't think we'll be facing what we're facing, because if there is enough sex education,
yes,
number one,
education, yeah.
and if children felt, you know, as you were saying, they can speak to their parents,
Yes.
about what other people are saying about sex at school, number two. So it's a joint effort of, you know, this is not something the government is going to solve by themselves. It's not something the parents are going to solve by themselves. The government will come in when it comes to poverty.
Yes.
You know, because I've heard free education for children, and when I hear that there are children that have to take $20 to 20 naira to school, then, you know, government has a lot of policies that they're not really implementing. Welcome back. It's still Makosi Today. Now, Tayo, you know, we've really gone in depth with, you know, issues pertaining teenage pregnancy. Way forward, how do we move on?
Well, I think two things. Number one, prevention is better than cure. All hands must be on deck, both at the family level and at the society level, to ensure that that problem is solved. Prevention, because enlightenment is superior to enforcement. Now, family needs to be up and doing. The problem of poverty needs to be addressed. Then we need to embark on sexuality education. Young people need to be aware of their sexuality and understand the implication of whatever action they take. One of the problems of teenagers is what you call reality deficiency syndrome. That is, they are not at home with the realities of with the consequences of their actions. Then that is the first part. The second part is that if a child gets pregnant, that should not be the end of her life. The society should work together to give her a second chance. If the family cannot give her a second chance, the society should be there to give the girl a second chance. Because, you know, a child has 5 basic needs, and I will talk about just one of them. One of it is that a child needs somewhere to belong, first a family, then a community.
Exactly.
And so, if a child becomes great in life, it is not only the family that will benefit from his or her greatness,
but the community.
And if a child becomes wayward in life, it's not only the family that will benefit from his or her waywardness. So our society, Africa, should be interested in giving young people a second chance. All of us have made mistakes in our lives, and know if we are to be named by our mistakes, and the word is related with us by our mistakes, none of us will be here. The foundational thing is this: I think it is hypocritical, it is sad, it is evil for you to chase away your girl child because she becomes pregnant. Now, the truth of the matter is that she became pregnant in the first instance is a proof of the kind of leadership you have provided. The girl was innocent, she came into your family. So when you are chasing the child away, are you also going to chase yourself out of your own house by virtue of your failure as a parent?
Good question.
So the foundational thing is this: we need to take all this on board in solving all these problems. But what does it entail? It entails social empowerment advocacy. Take all the advocacy issues from all points and look at all the audiences and plan a program that will be able to solve this problem.
Awareness. Ngozi, do you know, I'm speechless from, you know, what we discussed off camera and back on camera. Way forward, what do you think?
Way forward, from my own point of view, is that apart from the family, because the family is the main place.
Charity begins at home.
Yes. If you don't accept your girl child, what do you expect your girl child to do?
Exactly.
Most time is the rejection from home that push them to look for somebody that they can rely on, somebody that can talk to them. And most times they go to the wrong people, you know, to talk to them. And there may be one brother who, from talking to them, another thing happens. And again, we need to empower our girls with life skills, you know, to family values, you know, for them to have high self-esteem, you know, so that they'll be able to protect themselves, you know, to also teach them how to be resilient, you know, no matter the situation. Don't be deceived, you know, because most times it's their peers. A lot of peers influence, peer pressure is what is deceiving most girls, you know. Like a girl told me that I asked them, how do you contract HIV/AIDS? They say, some say through sex. She said, no, it is not through sex. I say, wow, how do you contract it? that is the information she got from her friends.
Of course,
you know.
yeah.
So we need to empower our girls.
Empowerment and awareness.
Yes, empower our girls. So no matter what happens, they will try to be themselves. And also, like I said, you teach them refusal skills, how to be assertive. You know,
how to say no and mean no.
And mean no.
Yeah.
You know, like what by Sakin Lami said, when you touch.
What an insightful topic. I mean, it's really sad when you see that, number one, there are no statistics for teenage pregnancies in Africa. And number two, children here are actually not getting pregnant out of choice. Well, maybe majority are not getting pregnant out of choice. I love you for watching at home. Thank you, Taiwo. Thank you, Nkosi. Thank you, wonderful audience. What a revealing episode of Makosi today. Until next time, remember, do not live to do tomorrow what you can do today. Goodbye for now.
Next on Makosi Today.
Can musicians be faithful?
Musicians, yes, they can. To music.
Not to women. So do you have a son?
I do, yes.
What would you teach them about safe sex? Marriage.
Safe sex and marriage.
And I can't talk about Big Brother and not talk about Manetta. Did you fancy her?
Who doesn't?